Hello and welcome to another 24-hour readathon.
Spring is the season.
I think this is my 6th ever 24-hour readathon and I haven't done one in like 3 or 4 months, so I am so excited to be doing one again. It sounds so nice to just like sit and relax and read, and I'm gonna do my makeup while I talk to you guys. If you have never seen a 24-hour readathon before, I will be attempting to read for 24 hours straight. If it gets late and I fail and decide to give up and go to bed, then I will have to pause the timer and resume the 24 hours the next morning. And as a little twist on this 24-hour readathon, I'm going to only be reading fantasy books for the next 24 hours. Fantasy is a genre that I didn't start reading until the last few months, but I have really been loving it. I've read the Akatar series, Heart of the Raven Prince, Shadow and Bone, but it's definitely a new genre for me. And I have just loved every fantasy book I've read, so I think this will be a really nice next 24 hours of reading. Okay, let me walk you guys through the books that I might read in this video. I pulled 6 fantasy books. There's no way I'm gonna get through all of them in this video, but hopefully I get through 3 of them at least. The first one is The Cruel Prince, which I'm currently reading right now in my book club Fable, so I definitely plan on reading this book in this video. And this book is about Jude, whose parents were murdered, and she was stolen away to the treacherous High Court of Fairy. And to win a place in the court, Jude must defy Prince Cardan, the youngest and wickedest son of the High King, which I'm assuming is where we get the title, The Cruel Prince. That just sounds so good. Also, am I sensing enemies to lovers between her and the prince? If I ever hear that characters hate each other, I'm like, they will fall in love. Then is Shatter Me. There's so many series that I have pulled. I feel like almost every fantasy book is a series. I only have the first books of all of these, so I feel like I'm gonna get into this 24-hour readathon, love a book, want to read the second book, but I won't have it. Anyway, this book is about Juliet, whose touch is fatal, which sounds crazy, and the reestablishment plans to use her as a weapon, but she has plans of her own. One of them being to find a future with the one boy she thought she'd lost forever. Then next, 4 Dead Queens, which I've owned forever, so I really need to read this book. And this book is about Carolee, who is a pickpocket, and she steals a video from a messenger of 4 queens being murdered. So she ends up teaming up with the messenger she stole from to try and find who the murderer is. Then The Prison Healer, which I literally bought yesterday. This is about Kiva, who works as a prison healer in the notorious death prison. And then the rebel queen is captured and must go through a trial by ordeal. And Kiva risks her own life and volunteers in her place. If she succeeds, both she and the queen will be granted their freedom, but no one has ever survived the trials. So that sounds wild. I feel like it sounds really cool that Kiva works in a prison. I haven't read anything that takes place like in or about or around a prison, so I feel like fantasy meets prison feels very cool. And then Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. I'm actually in the middle of this book. I started this book in February, and then I just ended up having to read a bunch of specific books for specific videos, so I paused reading this book, and so I would really like to finish this book in this video because I only have like 150 pages left. And then lastly is Silver in the Bone by Alexandra Bracken.
And Underlined sent me this book and is a sponsor of today's video.
And this book sounds so good. This is the first book in a series, and it is inspired by Arthurian legend. Our main character is Tasman Lark. Her foster father vanished with a powerful ring from Arthurian legend. So Tamsin starts hunting for the ring in order to cure a curse on her brother, but they aren't the only ones who covet the ring. Plus, this book has 4.10 stars on Goodreads, which is so high. So even if you don't trust my opinion that I think this book is gonna be incredible, you can trust Goodreads. And some praise for this book is that it's simmering with magic, peril, romance, and heartbreak, nail-biting, gut-wrenching, action-packed, and devastatingly romantic. Plus, the author Alexandra Bracken also wrote the very popular book Lore and The Darkest Minds. Lore is fantasy and mythology, and The Darkest Minds is fantasy romance. So Alexandra Bracken is like the queen of fantasy. So I just know that Silver in the Bone is gonna be just as good as her other hits. And you can check out Silver in the Bone by clicking the link in my description. Again, I would highly, highly recommend this book. The plot just sounds so interesting. It's such a highly rated book. And if I don't get to reading it in this video, I will definitely update you guys on my other social medias with all of my thoughts. Okay, what book to start with first? I think I'm gonna start with Chain of Iron just because I don't have that much left of it. So I feel like it'd be nice to like get a book under our belt, finish this one up, and then I'll start fresh with the second book. Okay, it's time to get started with Chain of Iron, which means we need to start our 24-hour timer. All right, I'm starting the timer in 3, 2, 1. I'm gonna start reading.
I'll stand on the shore and wait, panoramic point of
It is so dark and gloomy out right now, so I turned on my lamp. But I just read to page 495, and oh my gosh, Cassandra Clare. She writes the best romantic scenes. This whole series is young adult, so it's completely clean, no spice. But there was just a little romantic moment between two characters that I've been waiting to get together forever. I don't know if this is them like officially getting together or not, but the romance scenes Cassandra Clare writes, I feel like that takes a special skill when you have no spice, but like a kiss or something like that still feels like so incredibly passionate and so romantic. Okay, it's lunchtime, but I cannot stop reading, so I'm gonna attempt to read while I heat up my lunch.
How much you can do, but marvel at the residue, 'cause it still feels like summer, but it's soaked in nostalgia slowly. All the leaves start turning brown.
I just read a page 630, and Cassandra Clare is always finding the most painful ways to keep characters apart. Like just when you think the characters are gonna get together, bam, something happens that breaks my heart.
But I guess I'll just put on my favorite sweater.
I finished the book. I really like this book. I would rate it 4.5 stars. I love that this book and the whole series has so much going on in it. In this book, we had these series of murders happening, so we were trying to figure out who the murderer was. There was demons, there was relationships, heartbreak, love, friendship, fight scenes, like just so much going on. And one thing that's really cool if you've never read a Cassandra Clare book before is that she has a bunch of series that all take place in the same universe. It's like the Shadowhunter universe. When I was younger in like middle school and high school, I read the Mortal Instruments series and the Infernal Devices series, and we get a bunch of crossover characters from all those series, which is really cool. So if you want like a very large immersive world, I would really recommend reading her series. I think I'm gonna start The Cruel Prince next, mainly because I have a virtual book club on Fable. The link is always in my description under all of my socials if you guys want to join my virtual book club, and this is this month's pick, so I really want to read it and leave all my thoughts for you guys that are in the book club to read. So yeah, I'm gonna start The Cruel Prince. I just finished page 7, aka I just finished the prologue, and that was like the craziest prologue and like start to a book I feel like I've ever read. It just starts with a bang. In these first 7 pages, our main character Jude's parents are murdered and she is taken away to the fairyland. So that was a wild start, and I feel like a good sign that this book is gonna be really good. Also, chapter 1 is literally 1 sentence long, and it says, "In Fairy, there are no fish sticks, no ketchup, no television." Fairy world sounds not very cool, to be honest. I was thinking that the Cruel Prince, Prince Cardan, was gonna be like a love interest, like a little enemies to lovers plot. But I just finished chapter 7 and he seems horrible, like very cruel. Like they did not lie about his name being the Cruel Prince. So now I don't know. Now I'm like, maybe I was seeing romance where there's no romance. And with that, I think I'm gonna go sit at Starbucks and read. We are 6.5 hours in, so about a quarter of the way into this challenge. Also, I found the audiobook of The Cruel Prince, so while I'm driving, because I cannot read and drive, I will be listening to the audiobook. I just got back from the coffee shop and I read to page 127 and I'm really liking it so far. I'm glad that this has been like a really great read because I know when it gets around to like midnight, I'm gonna want to be reading a really good book. Oh, hello. No one can see anything though, but your fur. Anyway, I am loving our main character Jude so far. She's like, okay. She's like very bold, not afraid to stand up to the cruel prince, Prince Cardan, which I love because he sucks so far. But she did make a very rash decision. Okay. And I think it's gonna come back to bite her in the end, but we'll see. I guess that's my cue to go. Yes, I can see you. Anyway, I think my cat is saying, please stop filming and hang out with me. So I'm gonna keep reading and pet this little guy and probably listen to the audiobook while I cook dinner. Now you lay down immediately after I'm finished filming. Of course you would do that. Hello, I finished dinner. I am 10 hours in, and on page 153, I feel like I've been reading so slowly, and I was so confused. Like, I'm reading at like 1 page per 2 minutes, which is really slow for me, even though I am a fairly slow reader. And so I was like, why am I reading so slow? And I think the reason why is because normally I film these when Danny isn't home, when he's like out of town or something, but he is home, and I feel like it's been so distracting. Like, even just getting in like little conversations with him, and I'm like, no, I have to read. It's the challenge, I can't stop. So, sorry, I am moving so slowly, but I'm gonna set a 1 hour timer. I'm gonna put on some headphones and just like focus up, because I really don't want to be finishing this book at like 2 in the morning. I would like to finish before then. It's been 1 hour and I read 42 pages. So my reading speed would be that it would take me about 2 hours and 20 minutes to read 100 pages. I'm curious how quick or slow readers you guys are. I feel like I'm a pretty slow reader, but I also like just love to like picture the whole book in my head like a movie, and sometimes I'll like reread parts if I feel like I didn't like fully comprehend it. So yeah, I feel like there's nothing wrong with being a slow reader. We just hit the 12-hour mark, so let's do a little halfway recap. So far, I finished the last 178 pages of The Chain of Iron, and I have read 222 pages of The Cruel Prince. So yeah, I'm hoping to 100% finish this book tonight, and we should definitely be able to start a third book. Oh no, the first yawn of the readathon. Also, I've hit page 270, so I officially have 100 pages left. And also, since I last updated you guys, so much has happened. I feel like the book was moving along at like a steady pace, and then like bang, just like a million things happen at one time, and oh my gosh, I feel like I get what like the plot of the whole series is going to be. I feel like that's common in fantasy books, especially series. Like, there's so much like world building that needs to happen, and then there's like one big event that just like launches you into the main plot. I put on my pajamas, which is why I'm dressed differently, but oh my gosh. Page 307, the last sentence of chapter 25 says, "Not nearly as alarmed as when I bring my beep, beep, beep." The beeps for spoilers, obviously, but never has like one sentence just changed so much, and like I'm screaming internally. I'm screaming. I finished the book. I really liked it. I think I would give it 4.25 stars. I feel like the world is really immersive. I really like Jude, our main character. I love like how strong of a character she is, but that she still has flaws. There were parts of the plot that surprised me. The romance was a tiny part of this book. Like, don't go into this book thinking it's gonna be a lot of romance. Like, it was literally a sprinkle of romance, but it just like left me craving so much more, which I feel like is the best thing in a series, and I really want to start the second book now. Now I'm sad that I don't have the second book with me. And I've heard that this is people's least favorite book in the series, so that also makes me excited that the next two books are going to be even better. And now I am debating whether or not to go to bed. I am so tired. I feel like these last like 2 hours of reading, like my eyes hurt, my head hurts. Like, there's something about reading for so long. I feel like just staring at a page, like back and forth, you know, reading. I feel like it makes your eyes so tired. I feel like if I start a new book now, I will fall asleep because it's like 1 a.m. Yeah, it's 1:05 a.m. and we are 15 hours and 23 minutes into the challenge. And I think I'm gonna stop the timer there. Okay. I'm sorry, I am pausing and failing this challenge, but I will continue reading the rest of our like 8.5 hours tomorrow. Okay, good night. Good morning. So it's time to start a new book today. I am being so indecisive right now. Let me talk you through my thought process. We have 8.5 hours of reading today, which is a good amount. Shatter Me is the smallest book here, so I could potentially finish it in 8.5 hours. The Prison Healer sounds the most interesting to me out of all of these, but here's the problem. These 3 books are the first books in the series. And after The Cruel Prince, I kind of don't want to start another series, because after I finish filming this video, I want to finish this series. I literally just ordered The Wicked King, which is the sequel to The Cruel Prince, right when I woke up. That's how passionate I am about finishing that series this month. So the Four Dead Queens is the only one I have not a part of a series. So I think I'm gonna go with the Four Dead Queens. Also, I thought it'd be nice to go to the gym since we sat all day yesterday and attempt to read while on the treadmill. I have never tried to do that before, so I don't know if that'll be possible or not, but yeah, I'm gonna attempt, and I will resume our 24-hour timer when I get to the gym and start reading. So far, I love that only queens rule in this world. No kings at all, and the daughter takes on the throne after the queen passes. Hello, I'm sweaty. It was fun to read on the treadmill, like more entertaining than just doing nothing and like staring off in space. But I did get like a little nauseous when I tried to go faster. Anyway, I'm gonna shower really fast and get ready while listening to the audiobook, and then I'll tell you guys all my thoughts. I'm really liking it so far. The world building at the beginning of a fantasy book is both my favorite and least favorite part, because sometimes it can move a little slow, but it's also so cool to like learn the rules of the world and new creatures and just get immersed. And I feel like this book has a very unique world. There's basically 4 queens over 4 separate quadrants, and the queens rule their quadrants separately, but all while living in the same palace. So I feel like that's really interesting. And like I said earlier, the fact that there's no kings, and we've gotten some of the queens' POVs, which is really cool. And then our main character, Carolee, is a pickpocket, which is also really fun. I love that fantasy always has really fun, bold female characters. But yeah, what I'm most intrigued about is the fact that it's called Four Dead Queens. Like, we only have 4 queens total. So if the 4 queens die, wouldn't the land just be in like complete and utter chaos? Like, what is gonna happen? I just finished page 167 and I have a big guess for the plot, and I feel like I'm right. And if I'm right, then it's gonna be like a huge twist. Well, not huge to me because I might have guessed it, you know. What I'm also loving is that all of the characters have like big secrets and they're like slowly getting revealed. So I feel like that's been really interesting. Yeah, the book has just been so fast paced, getting like little secret reveal, somebody being murdered, another secret. But I am like so happy with how fast paced this book is moving. It is officially hour 20, so I have 4 hours left and I'm on page 210. Something I'm also loving about this book is I feel like it's like a fun combo of genres. Like, we've got fantasy, obviously, and then also murder mystery because the 4 queens have been killed and we don't know who did it. And then there's also been some alluding to romance subplots, and I'm hoping a certain 2 characters get together at the end. So yeah, romance, mystery, fantasy. This money I've made is not what it's worth. I just finished page 320 and I'm sweating. The romance plot really picked up and I am so happy. These 2 characters are so cute and I just want the best for both of them. Also, I said I had like a big guess for the plot and my guess was wrong. I kind of feel like my guess would have been more exciting than what actually happened, but that's okay. But yeah, I feel like right now I'm kind of at like a 4.5 stars with this book, but I feel like the ending could really bring it up or down. So we'll see what happens at the end. Also, we are on hour 22, so 2 hours left, and I have just over 100 pages left. I feel like I could maybe finish this book in the next 2 hours. I feel like I'm reading way faster than I was yesterday. I don't know what was going on yesterday. I feel like I was reading so slowly. I have 10 seconds left. The air, that crisp, fresh smell of newly fallen snow, and the morning crowds were out preparing to do business. The screens atop the building continued to play Beep Beep's last queenly report on loop, and that is 24 hours. That is so exciting. But also, I am almost done with this book. Oh my gosh, I literally have 4 pages left of this book. Okay, I'm just gonna finish it really fast so that way I can give you guys my final thoughts on Four Dead Queens. I finished it! it. I feel like I kind of liked it equally to The Cruel Prince. I'm also gonna give it 4.25 stars. I feel like it was like almost a 4.5 star read. I loved like the combo of genres. I loved the world. I feel like it was really unique. So many fantasy books that I've read so far are like fae style fantasy and have kind of sometimes a similar like government setup and stuff, but I feel like this one was really different. So it was like very refreshing to read about a very original, unique world. I did not see so many things that happened at the end. I never would have guessed who the murderer was. It's cool that there was like so many things throughout the book where I was like, that's weird, and then it all came together at the end. I loved like the little romance subplot. Yeah, it's really good. I feel like not a lot of people talk about this book, but I would very much recommend it. I feel like it's also good if you aren't really into fantasy but want to get into it, because the fantasy world is just this like kingdom and unique like lands with like unique technology, but there's no like creatures or magical powers. So I feel like it's like fairly light on the fantasy vibes, which is nice if you're like new to fantasy. Oh my gosh, this has been such a nice 24 hours. I am kind of obsessed with fantasy, I think. I'm gonna be like entering my fantasy moments. That's kind of like all I want to read. Like I really want to read the other books that I didn't get to in this video. So let me know if you guys have any other fantasy recs, preferably with like a little dash of romance. I will probably not be reading for the next few days because my brain do be feeling a little fried from all this reading. Okay, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!
Tells me go find the ends of the earth. This money I've made is not what it's worth. All these things ain't worth your dreams. Tells me oh, some of the things I do with